Mr. Arno, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Senator Cantwell, Senator Gardner, I'm honored to address you on the 35th anniversary of the signing of ANILCA. I'm testifying today on behalf of the Alaska Outdoor Council. The Alaska Outdoor Council thanks the Senator from Alaska for the invitation to speak to the committee on how ANILCA has affected our 10,000 members and many other outdoor folks who hunt, trap, fish, and recreate on public lands in Alaska. The Alaska Outdoor Council is a 55-year-old statewide conservation organization in the true sense of the word. Our membership personally participate in hunting, trapping, and fishing on Alaska's public lands. Alaska is unique in the world. I know that from experience for being a wilderness guide for 40 years in Alaska, as well as a world traveler. Alaska owes its uniqueness to a variety of reasons, mainly its geographic location. Alaska is at the apex of the Pacific tectonic plate, drifting north at 4 centimeters a year, overriding the North American plate. The result of that is the highest vertical mountain in the world, now named Mount Denali. The tectonic action is responsible for making Alaska resource rich, both underground with oil, gas, and mineral deposits, and on the surface with wildlife habitats and majestic views. Alaska's geographic location is also responsible partly for the low density of human population, long dark winters, weather extremes, habitats rich in plant and life, including mosquitoes, all of which has kept Alaska less developed than most of the world landmass. For its size, Alaska is a very small population of less than 750,000 people. The number of trappers, hunters, and anglers has not increased in Alaska over the last 35 years since the passage of ANILCA. No doubt about it, the passage of ANILCA was a great compromise between relatives of Alaska's first immigrants from Asia, the continent, and subsequent waves of immigrants from both East and West who live in Alaska today. With Alaska becoming under the control of the U.S. government, the burden of determining who got the land fell upon the U.S. Congress. As far as the state-owned lands, it's not like the state of Alaska has intentions of clear-cutting all the timber or extracting all the mineral resources on the 102 million acres given it its statehood. Alaska's already created over 8 state parks out of the land conveyed it by Congress. At nearly 1.6 million acres, the Wood River Tikchik State Park is the largest state park in the United States at 1.6 million acres. The state of Alaska has already put 500,000 acres in the wilderness from its land. What's not intact is the people of Alaska. For those of us who have chosen to make a wild food harvest part of our way of life, we are in conflict with each other over a dwindling harvestable surplus of game on federal lands. This conflict is exacerbated by the federal land manager's relentless efforts to restrict motorized access on and across 60% of Alaska through federal rulemaking. While most of the federal conservation lands created by ANILCA have for their purpose to provide for subsistence uses, the Department of Interior's land managers continue to allow harvest levels of game to decline because their mandates don't include active game management. Less game, less harvestable surplus equals more conflict among Alaskans who want to provide themselves and family with a wild food harvest. This is not what we Alaskans believe the intent of the compromise that created ANILCA was to be. The U.S. Department of Interior needs directions to allow Alaska's fish and game managers to manage on a sustained yield basis to meet subsistence uses. Congress should amend ANILCA to make it clear Department of Interior mandates do not supersede Alaska's ability to manage its fish and game. Once harvestable surplus declines, Title 8 of ANILCA, implemented by the Federal Subsistence Board, causes all non-federally qualified resident subsistence users of Alaska and all non-residents to lose their equal access to publicly owned resources. The Department of Interior has recently adopted rules that divide Alaskans based solely on their place of residency and no other criteria. The U.S. Constitution 14th Amendment Equal Protection Law does not allow that type of rulemaking. In no place else in the nation has Congress passed laws where new immigrants to the country don't share the same rights and privileges to public resources just because of where they chose to live. Alaska recommends that Title VIII of ANILCA, the Rural Priority Public Resources, be reviewed to determine its constitutionality. Thank you for your time and consideration of how the Department of Interior implementation of ANILCA is negatively affecting the well-being of Alaskan citizenry.